This little video will explain how the Q Blender functions works in the latest M-series software from Martin. Q Blender is basically a special Q list that we can assign to a fader, and on that fader we can actually spread the Qs along the fader. So example, if you have 10 Qs, this will be Q1 and crossfading all the way to Q10. So this is quite a unique feature, and it can be very helpful in many situations. Let's try a few different scenarios. So we have selected here 24 magnified per profile, and actually we're going to do that at every 6. Let's verify this. So we have 24 fixtures here, so we're gonna try that. We're gonna make it at every 6 fixture, which was actually one leg of the truss here. So what we'll do is on the first group we'll put them at full here, and that will be our first step, and we're gonna record that here. And what we choose is override. Later on we'll turn on the Q Blender, but let's do our Q first. So what's important to understand is that because it's an override, there is no tracking. So when you record Qs, if you want the next Q to also include those 4 fixtures, you have to include them as well. So what I'll do is I'll just move on to the next fixture, put them at full, and when I do record, I'm going to include active and inactive at the same time. So that includes the new values I put in the programmer and the previous values that were there in the previous Q as well. So, enter, and then I go to the next group and full, record, active, inactive, enter, next group, full, record, active, inactive, enter, next group, full, record, active, inactive, enter, next group, full, record, active, inactive, enter. There we go. Now we can clear the programmer. So in this here right now, if I turn this on, as you see, only this will turn on, because if we look at the actual Q list, and by default an override only use the first Q in the Q list. If I go to the options of the Q list, now there's one option called Q Blender. As I switch this, you'll see here there's new value being added to the Q list, which is basically a percentage. So what it says is Q1 is actually spread between 0 and 16%, Q2 is between 16 and 32, and Q3 between 32 and 48, and so on until Q6, which is 80% to 100%. So now let's see what happens when I use this here. You see, all the Qs are basically spread across. But allow you to do manual effect. So I could have one going one way, I could have another one maybe going the other way. So, or it could be this one going, and at 50% it would fade the other. So possibilities are simply endless there. Another example of use for this is to invert a strobe channel. So if we go back to our fixtures here, so we do group 1 at full, and if we look at the strobe pattern here, so we have slow to fast. Okay. In many occasions, some fixtures are made in a way that it is fast to slow, and it's nearly impossible to invert this. So let's try the other way around. So we want to have a fast to slow. So the first value I'm going to record is fast here, and that would be as well as an override. And on the other step, it's going to be slow. So I'm going to go to slow here, and I'm going to record that. I want to record the intensity I put there as well, so I can record active and inactive together, and I put it here as well. Now if we go to our Q list again, into the options, we turn on the Q blender, and there you go. So fast, and then okay. Now what's happening is, because the actual dimmer channel, if we go back to group 1, enter, we look here, the group is a snap channel. So by default it means that this parameter always snaps. So, and this is exactly what's happening here. And this is fast, and then it snaps to slow. Let's go back to our Q list, and there's an option here called fade mode. So we select this for both Qs, and we're gonna make it fade all channel. So now basically it's crossfading. Okay, now you see the first Q is actually crossfading as well. So I can change that. I can say, well, basically from 0 to 1%, this is the first Q, and from 1% here to 100%, that's the second Q, and the first one here, I'll make it snap. So now it's not the intensity at full, and it's fast, and then as I crossfade, it slow down, slow down, slow down until it is slow. But this is basically only the strobe range of the channel that I'm controlling, and you can see it here while the fixtures are selected. Another example of usage would be to actually call positions. It could be a different position, or it could be just following someone on a catwalk. So if I go in the first key, the first position will be here, and it will be record here. Always is an override. Second example, the second one is that basically they all go to the drum, record, enter, and then let's say they all go to this look position, record, enter, and finally they all go to a straight line like this, record, enter. Same again, I go to my Q list, options, and I turn on the Q blender options. I'm going to clear the programmer, and basically I'm going to just take group 1 full, because I didn't put the intensity on every Q's. So there you go. So see, as I crossfade, basically it goes from position to position. So here's a more practical use of this, maybe with movements, would be if I take group 1 and full, I'm just going to record actually some master here so I can control the intensity of those fixture. It'll be useful. There you go. Group 1, and we take the pen and tilt, and in the programmer here, we're going to use a block of 6 fixture, and we're going to start from the last one, and we just tilt them. So there we go, tilt them up all the way, maybe a little bit more down, like this. Okay, so this is the first cue. And so we're going to record that here, and as an override. So then next cue will be the other groups, and then tilt that up also. Bring it down a bit. Like this. And record, and I'm going to record active and inactive because I want the other fixtures there as well. And if I want to always use that, I'm going to press set. So now every time I press record, it's going to be active and inactive. And I press enter, and to delete the other group, tilt up and just a bit down, like this. See, active and inactive is still there, so I don't have to tell it. And then next cue, tilt up here, record, enter. Okay, and let's clear this. So now if we go back to our cue list here and we go to our option, let's turn on Cue Blender and let's see what happened here. There you go. So this makes a very nice fly out to the crowd, but you can actually control it. So you can decide that you only send those two to the crowd and leave everything else on the stage. So Cue Blender could also be used to crossfade between color. So it could be that you go from a red to a green to a blue, and it will be the same process. You just record every color you want into a submaster. This is just a few examples. I'm sure you can find a lot more examples by trying it yourself. Thank you.